Hey, y'all. Hey, welcome to the PowerWomen podcast. This is the show where powerful women share their journeys, discuss how to solve powerful issues, and empower men who help us rise. I'm your host, Power Mom, Claire Brown. Hey, y'all. Hey, it is the end of the year. I'm so excited to do kind of a recap and an introduction to some new terms I've learned. That we're going to do this with my vagina ladies, Beth Ann and Bethany. I'm so excited to hear from you girls again. And we do this at least once a season. I have to have my vagina ladies on at least once a season.
We feel so honored.
Yes, because we have the most fun. We truly do.
Truly.
Yeah. I know. So if those new listeners that may not know, my vagina ladies and I, we have recorded some of my most downloaded episodes. We've recorded pussy aerobics.
That was our first intro. We had never. That was like our first time meeting her too. Like we didn't. Yeah. We hadn't been face to face at all, and since then, man.
Yeah. You got to know me real quick,
real fast.
All of me. All of me. Yeah, because then I came in for pussy aerobics. And you got to know every bit of me.
Every ounce.
Truly. In fact, I was even telling a woman this morning that I was recording this, and I was recording it with y'all and with my vagina ladies, and she was like, excuse me? And she is in her 70s. And she was like, who and what? And I was like, oh, they're my vagina ladies at Arkansas Pelvic Health, and they'll make you no longer pee your pants. And she was like, Claire. And I was like, and I looked at her and said, I know you're peeing your pants. You've been peeing your pants for 30 or 40 years, haven't you? And she said, maybe. And I said, that's a yes. Yeah. And she said, well, why don't you just go have that surgery? And I said, who wants surgery when just in the 3 months or so that you could just have some physical therapy and quit? And it's amazing. Just with pussy aerobics. She's like, oh my God. Anyway, so we've done that episode, and it is not only hilarious, it's very informative. And then there's also Know Your Sex IQ. We did that episode as well.
That one was really fun.
Yeah, we played the game. We played the game that I got for my birthday from my friends.
That is
which I haven't played since, actually.
We should play it again.
We should. We won't today, but we should. Yes. Yeah, that was so much fun. In fact, so when I learned of these new terms, y'all were my first thought, because I thought, who better to have this chat with than the vagina ladies? Because y'all see so many women. Y'all hear about so many things from women and from men. Yes, you're both married. Yes, you both have children. One of you is pregnant, but that would be Beth Ann. Bethany, I know you're not pregnant.
No, and we're done.
We're done with that. And so, you're also in the gynecological community. So, you just hear so many things from so many women, right? You're also in the PowerWomen group. So you hear and see all the things just like I do.
So much.
Right. And you're also friends with me, and you have been for many years now. So
it's good times being your friend, Claire.
It is. Our private texts are so much fun. So the terms we're going to chat about today are Hoeflation versus Broflation.
Yeah. I did Google it. I'm not going to lie. I feel like the last time we talked terms, we were like, oh, yeah, girl, we know. And we were telling you. And this time I was like, am I old? Or what is this?
Right. But then I asked my 21-year-old nanny the term, and she had not heard it either. And so that made me feel better. Like I didn't feel like I was behind the times.
Right. Well, I just learned about it last week. And
so
then
this word also.
A friend of mine is single and was on a dating app, and she screenshot it and sent it to me. And she was like, what is this? And I was like, oh, I don't know. And she's like, if you don't know, then I don't feel bad. And I was like, well, thanks for that. So, because I haven't been out on a date in 7 months until this last week, but we won't discuss that one because it was another crash and burn. So
we're going to keep that closed in our group chat.
Because it really was one of the worst.
You don't have anything to be embarrassed about.
You don't, definitely. It wasn't you.
Don't. It wasn't me. It never is. I don't know how these... I can say that. I really can. It isn't me that shows up without a front tooth missing. It isn't me that asks people for money. It isn't me that does all this crazy shit. I don't know how this stuff happens to me. I really don't.
I feel like there have been so many that like own a private computer security system or IT company. Like there's been several I own a IT company people. That's got to be the common.
Yeah. Well, this one is just a very confused person. And that's all I know how to say. And the only takeaway that I've had from it is I just make people feel very comfortable to open up and tell me all their secrets in our first meeting.
It's a pro. It really is. It really is.
She's like, what about my face? Tell me everything.
I feel like that, like as poet PTs, we also carry this like on our forehead of like, tell us everything about your life because people do.
But you're doing an intimate exam. And so people are told to tell you their intimacies. Yeah. I'm on a first date. I am not here for you to tell me everything. I did not. I'm not telling you.
Mysterious. Not everything at one time.
Oh my God. Anyways, we're talking about Hoeflation and Broflation. This is why I haven't been out in 7 months. And I'm going to continue another 7 months. I'm sure of it. So Hoeflation, Bethany, can you read us the definition, please?
Yeah, I was just reading some comments on it. There's a lot of like Reddit threads, and it says Hoeflation is a term which describes the increase in price men have to pay for lower value women. And the Reddit thread said, in other words, men are working 5 times harder than their grandparents had to work for women 20 times worse than their grandmother or something like that.
Yeah.
Or it's like the expectation to be at least 6 feet tall with 15% body fat or less and make like over 6 figures.
Mm-hmm. That's Broflation. That's the expectation that women have of men.
Right.
Okay. It's fascinating. It is so fascinating to me.
Yeah.
Because
increase in price, men have to pay for lower value women.
Yeah. And so it's all this is really an expectation issue.
Yeah. And like what assigns value to a woman? Like some of the rest of it says you have to spend more money on women and you want them to have a certain personality and physique and they've lost all their value as they've had sex with everyone, can't cook, and don't know how to be good wives.
Wow.
So I want to know what, there's so much to pick apart. Like, I can't wait. This is so great. This is so much fun. I can't wait. So I can tell you that I have friends of mine whom I've had since childhood that are men, and I get to have the privilege to hang out with them and then view their dating apps. So I get to see the competition, and it's so much fun. And a couple of them live here. Some of them live out of state. So I get to see multiple market inventory, if you will. And, and so, I mean, true, right? Right? Yeah. Whatever. And what I can tell you is that this is real. This is a real thing. Hoeflation and Broflation of the expectations of the opposite sex is for real. And I totally agree. Our grandmothers wore an amazing, cotton nightgown all the time. And our grandfathers jumped her every day, all day. And she was amazing and he was amazing. And they, it worked, right? So why can't I wear my cotton nightgown and it'd be just fine, right? And so, right? It's not working. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I should just hang out in a cotton nightgown and I wouldn't be single anymore.
Ooh, I have to tell you this. I had a lingerie shower and I went to like a private Christian college. And so, like sex wasn't ever really talked about, but if you got engaged, you'd have a lingerie shower. So I had one and my mother-in-law came And so like everyone got me like actual lingerie, but my mother-in-law got me a cotton nightgown and some flannel pajamas. And like I opened it and everyone laughed. Like we all thought it was a joke, right? Because it's like her son. She's like this, but it wasn't a joke. She didn't get it. She was like, "What? You get cold?" And I was like, "You're right. I do get cold."
Yeah.
I had this long sleeve cotton nightgown and I wore it too.
I love it.
Yeah. But I mean, it's true. Like they, you know, I mean, you got to think like, how have we evolved? And then how are our expectations shifting with it? And so that's what comes to mind. And so I've thought about this so much, and I go back to one of my guy friends and his lineup, if you will, all of his matches in his dating in his dating app. Okay, all the women that he is attracted to, that he has matched with, have an exotic look, and that's the nice way I'm going to say that. They all seem to have on a very little amount of clothing. They all seem to have a lot of filler, a lot of injections, extensions in their hair. There's a lot of faux.
Has he met any of these
filters? Oh yes, he has. Oh yes.
Are they like a catfish version, or is it like when he shows up, they actually are who they say they are?
Mm-hmm. I've seen pictures with him with them as well. And I mean, he likes a certain type of woman, according to him. And so I would say that there's a little bit of Hoeflation going on there, right? Yeah. He has an expectation of women to be a certain way.
And that's expensive too.
Yeah.
It's an expensive lifestyle. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And so here's the disconnect. If you have an expectation of a woman to look like a porn star, have sex like a porn star, act like a porn star, are you really going to also have the expectation of her to be brilliant and successful and know how to cook and know how to clean and all these things? Because frankly, my expectation of her is to not have a brain cell left. I mean, if she's going to look like plastic, I'm going to expect her to act like plastic. Am I wrong?
I just think, I feel like wrong? I mean, I don't know.
I think I agree and disagree.
Yeah. I mean, I know there's an exception everywhere to all, and I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
And that just might be, some people are really into bags. Some people are really into, I love shoes. Like, I love shoes, but he loves bags. Like, some people really like filler and Botox and things like that, but it could just be like, that's their thing. They want to spend money on that thing, and they could care less maybe about like the car that they drive or something like that.
Right.
I feel like Hoeflation, like you could take it into like that, like it's a lifestyle, it's bags, it's shoes, it's, expensive skincare or procedures. But also I think part of the Hoeflation thing that people don't like is this shift where men have to take more of like the emotional load and the domestic load. And they're like, I just want to like leave the house and work. And like, this is all your thing, even if she's also leaving the house working.
Yeah.
So it's like they have to just do more instead of just kind of, and I tell people this too. I don't mean this like super bad, just a little bit bad, but I tell people I go to work for a break. Like home is harder for me. Like done with these kids and like all the stuff that goes with home life, like work is easier. And I feel like men have always gotten that traditionally, kind of, in my opinion, the easy way out. They're away from the home. What they say goes. They have meetings, but it's over lunch, that type of a thing. And I feel like women are like, I get a break. I'm going to run to the bank. Now I'm going to run and pick up something at the pharmacy. And when I get home, I'm cooking or, whatever. So I think some of Hoeflation is these men are like, ooh, they just want more now.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, because the end of that definition said being a better wife.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so what is the definition? What makes her a better wife? Right. Cooking and cleaning, caring for children. What makes her better?
Yeah,
And then is it really all about you having to raise your standards and expectations, or her having, whatever? And so to me, and I write about this in the book, the law of attraction is real.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to attract who you are. And so if you don't like what you're attracting, then you really need to reevaluate self, which is why I've had a hard time this last week after that date. I'm like, no.
Claire, I really, the picture of that man, he was cute. Like, and I never would have expected what happened on that date to like have happened. So I don't think it's necessary. I think some people's mental things are different.
Yeah,
I don't think, I mean, like, you obviously attract very handsome men because, like, it wasn't that he wasn't handsome. It just might have been a little crazy.
I mean, no, he was just nuts.
But like my son, one of my older boys, has a very specific type because ever since he started living with me when he was 15 years old, like, he's always had the same style of girlfriend, like very tall, very thin, long hair, like every single one of them. And like, he has a very specific type versus my other son dated all across the board. Like, I just think it's really interesting that some people have like a very specific, like, I'm going to go here. And some people are like, you're great.
Right. But I mean, it goes both ways. I think women have an unrealistic expectation of men too. I mean, very unrealistic. I know women that are like, I need this, I need that, I need a man that has a boat. Literally, I had a single girlfriend. She's married now, but I'll never forget, like, it would start to be spring and she's like, it's almost summer. I've got to find a man with a boat. She would start dating somebody just to, hang out on their boat every summer.
Did she just like available? Like, what about when boat season was over? Would she like break up with him, or would she continue to stay with them?
She was done. She just needed the boat. Yeah, and I mean, I never could understand that. Anyways,
you got to buy your own boat. That's like, I love the TikTok. It's like, I'm the doctor that my parents always wanted me to marry. I want you to grow up and marry a doctor. She's like, I am the doctor.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. But it's like, women do. They have this unrealistic expectation, I think, of what's going to make them happy and what is attractive. And here's what I know for sure. When I'm 80, none of y'all are going to be pretty. None of y'all are going to look the same.
The Botox babes might be, though.
They might be the Botox people.
No.
They're like freezing into their younger selves.
And I feel like, I mean, the people who've done skincare since they were like in their 20s still look baller. But I mean, you are right. Like 80, or like the body just changes over time.
Yeah. Like, and I mean, that means you're going to have major surgery and get a lift everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, everywhere. And so like, who and what is it that's still going to make me want to sit next to you and talk to you and laugh with you and hold your hand and be attracted to you and all these things? And I guarantee you, it's not you being 6 foot tall. It's not you making 6 or 7 figures. It's not what you drive. It's not where you live. It's none of those things. And so, I don't know, for me, I can only speak for me, looking for and searching for a partner and a man with all those qualities, you can't. I don't. I've given up on that. I gave up on that. I learned that my first year single. So I've dated very short men. I've dated very tall men. I've dated very skinny men. I've dated very fat men. And I dated a large man. He's one of the longest men I ever dated. Anyway, he's one of also the smartest because, I mean, he challenged me so much. And so I love that because when I'm 80, he's still going to challenge me,
Yeah.
And then by that time, the rest of y'all will now catch up and be fat too. And so, that's what matters. Right. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it irks me. It gets under my skin. When I see women that let good men go.
But I mean, we also don't know what's happening behind closed doors. You know what I mean? Like, I think we're always shocked when there's some pastor that was a pedophile and then, because they're like preaching from the pulpit. But I mean, like, we don't know what happens behind closed doors. So, like, I think we always hear just like the one side of the story. So I think having the ability to be like, I wonder if that's like what the other person says too.
Right.
Just keeping somewhat of an open mind.
Oh, for sure.
There's good men that probably can fake it really well
Oh,
too.
for sure. But I do think having the expectation that men are supposed to be this and all these things is really unrealistic. But also to think that we are too. Mm-hmm. For a man to think that every woman, in order to be beautiful and attractive, is supposed to be able to wear a bikini is stupid and crazy and unrealistic. It's just not going to happen.
Well, or look a certain way in a bikini. Mm-hmm. This was a mindset shift, which I'm like a small frame, just genetically. Like I'm like literally the biggest woman on my dad's side of the family. So,
which is like, unbelievable.
She's itty bitty,
and she is.
Like I just genetic small frame, and I can remember we always took beach vacations growing up, and I can remember one time like. Which some of this is kind of who's around you and what's in, because once you become an adult, you're responsible for your own thoughts and actions. So like as a teenager, I remember seeing someone who was like probably very like normal size. I'm just like genetically small. And I remember my mom saying something like, well, she shouldn't be wearing that. Now we've both grown a lot, you know what I mean? And never to her face. It's just kind of like an afterthought. And I think that many people could think back of thoughts that they've had when they see people wearing it. And so, and I didn't think much of it then either, because that was my young, immature, mindset.
Yeah.
Not that I worked hard for the frame that I had. I was just born this way. Like I wasn't working out or doing anything special. And now when I think about stuff like that, I'm like, dude, people have confidence. Like it's different. Yeah. It's not like they shouldn't be wearing it. It's like they are confident in their skin or their body to wear that. More of a body neutrality, I guess is what you would call it. Mm-hmm. But I guess going back to like the Hoeflation, like we expect certain bodies, but anyway, I think what you're saying though, some of that, like we have these expectations, that's the Hoeflation, that's the Broflation too, honestly. Yeah. Right. But really that's like not, bodies really shouldn't be a part of the talk.
Mm-mm. But then there are also these people that I know, friends, whatever, acquaintances, that they do. They have who they are. They have a lack of awareness of who they are, but then they have this expectation that they will attract someone way up here. It is the Hoeflation. It is the Broflation. And it's just not achievable. And they're constantly living in disappointment. Maybe that's my problem.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it. Maybe I'm talking to myself this whole podcast. Oh my God.
I saw this thing that was like, it was like a TikTok trend, and it was called Jokes on You. Yeah. And it was saying like, women don't want bodybuilders. Women want dad bods. Bodybuilders, after you're having a family, they're still working and going to the gym for 4 hours a night. Dad bods are coming home. They're talking to you. They're making jokes. They're taking care of the kids.
Yes.
And then there was like, jokes on you for if you wanted to, which I'm not saying like it's only brains or body, but like jokes on you if you wanted the football player in high school, because it's the nerds that are like the software developers and
they're the ones bringing out the bank.
Yeah,
I don't know. I dated the quarterback in high school, and I was the cheerleader, and he's a doctor. So
is he married?
Nothing ever plays out for me.
You know what's interesting though?
It's not too late. You could be the doctor.
You could. If you wanted to be a doctor, go girl. Go.
I know. I went back and got more science. I have a science minor. I could apply to med school tomorrow. That's not happening. Next.
That's right. You could.
Yeah, I could. I could do a lot of things.
Is that the mind shift from generation to generation? Okay. Yeah. So like Bethany and I, we're millennials.
I know. I'm not.
Gen Z's behind us, and Gen Z is coming up with this like full acceptance of literally anything, everything at all times.
I know. And my daughter blows my mind.
I know. And so like they have this different, but they bring a level of confidence that like I did not have as a teen.
I did not either.
And I also feel like the hot girl summer thing that like started last year of like, girl, wear the bikini. Like it does not matter. You have stretch marks. Cool. Like it's this whole like feministic mind shift of like awesomeness of like, man, I wish I would have felt like that in high school versus like, you know what? I'm only going to eat a Special K bar and one bowl of Cheerios because I want to be like this size.
Right.
Like I don't, they're just like, girl, just wear it. And I'm like,
but I think it changes generationally though. Because like the generation that raised us were the Atkins, Weight Watchers, all of that.
Oh yeah.
Right. And then we're kind of like, I'm not even going to talk about food. I'm going to talk about food gives you energy. Right. And then there's like the next generation.
It's your fuel. It's the fuel for your body.
Yeah.
That's such crap.
But it's like in the pelvic floor world, bringing it to a pelvic floor perspective, because we always like to talk about that, is the sucking in of our bellies that we used to do to be skinny. Actually, it's and still do. Like, it's one of the worst things you can do. Like,
really?
So bad for you. So we're just like, let it go. Just chill. Because you're constantly sucking in, your pelvic floor is constantly activated, so you get more pelvic pain. You're more likely to have prolapse, like all the things. And so it's just like, just let it go. It's fine.
Just let that fupa hang, sister.
Let it hang. It's fine. It is what it is.
That's what you're saying.
Sounds like upright and tight. But it was like Joanne Camp at her little yoga studio. Yeah. She was doing, they called it a twerk shop. It was a twerking class around Valentine's Day that raised money. Remember Stacey Petty, like, passed away. I mean, she passed away. She was murdered by her husband as domestic violence. So they were doing like a twerk shop, and you could donate money, bring things, and it like provided stuff for a women's like domestic violence shelter. And just at that twerk shop, it was so funny to me because the girl teaching the class is like ripped. Like, she's like a personal trainer, like at baseline, like you could like identify, this is a PT thing, but you could identify muscles, like her delta at rest were like very present. And so I was like, but she could twerk like no one else in the class, until like 3 minutes. And she like, you got to let it go. Like, you got to your body jiggles. This is all about being loose. And so now I'm like, when I'm trying to tell people to like totally relax their bellies and stuff, I'm like, shake your butt a bit. Like, just chill it out.
We're just going to twerk. We're just going to twerk a little bit. Oh my God. Yeah. When I was student teaching, when I did my student teaching, the one semester that I taught school, and that was it, my students at the time taught me to twerk doing the Beyonce dance.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was so fun.
I mean, was it the single ladies dance that came out?
Yeah, that's how old I am. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Hey, it's like my theme song.
I think we were in like
I'm still there.
High school when that came out.
Shut up.
College.
I could have taught you.
Freshman.
I could have taught you school.
I mean, you're not that much older than us.
No, I wasn't that much older than my students. That's why I got asked to the prom by one of them.
Oh, no. Whoa. It's going to end up on Arkansas Justice Project.
Yeah, it's why I don't teach. Well, so many reasons I don't teach. So, yeah, but it's interesting, the shift of men spending money on women that they think are beneath them. Well, then why are you doing it? And then women spending money or time, which is your most valuable commodity, on men that they feel are beneath them. And so it's all fascinating. I think, some of us still wonder why we're single and we don't know yet. I don't know. I feel God still has a lot for me to say in my singlehood, is where I am with it, or at least that gives me some sort of peace. And then, for some of us, we still have a lot of growth. We're not attracting who we need to become, or who is our highest and best self. And instead, we're just playing along the way. And we really should be looking at more of, who do we want to sit next to when we're 80? And what does that look like? And do we expect our wives or our husbands to dress and act like porn stars, even when we're 80? And do we want the mother and father of our children to look and act like this? Or is this really just what's on the screen? So I think there's a disconnect, a huge disconnect with a ring or a fling. I did that. I did that there. I did that.
A little shove of your book right there. And
you're subtle.
I do really love Claire's book because it helped me understand her more as a person also. But there was so much validity in like what she said. Because like Bethany and I, we are not married to each other, as most people think that we are. We both have husbands. We have 3 kids. I almost have 4 kids. And it's interesting because like the social media world was not something when there was Facebook, but like when we were dating our spouses, that wasn't something that we had. Like Pinterest wasn't a thing. So like all of the expectations of like fancier things weren't when we got married. That was not a thing.
Yep.
And now we're coming up on like 14 years and I'm like, I don't know if I could survive in the dating app world. Like it's so much.
It's a lot. It's a lot of missing teeth. It's a lot of your brother pays for dinner.
I'll never forget because like Claire would send us pictures in our group chat of like, these are the options.
This is
the one dude who was on a couch, which seemed to be in a hotel room, and he had his computer on his lap and he was naked. Like, I was like,
computer was like, the only blocker there.
So I'm like, what kind of person are you trying to attract?
Picture.
Oh yeah,
someone took that of him. You talk about Hoeflation. This is not necessarily about women. It's not necessarily about women. And do not, and that's the other thing that bothers me about this definition. It talks about women sleeping with everybody. I'm sorry. I'm not out sleeping with everybody, but I don't shame a woman that does. I don't have a problem with somebody that does. Like
that whole idea is insane to me. Because if you have sex with one person 100 times, like your vagina is the same as someone who has sex with 100 people one time. You know what I mean? But there's like this different of your vagina's loose or, you know what, we could go deep into that, but you know what I'm talking about.
We can go deep into that.
You know what? I do think that like broflation, part of that is that women are expecting more. And some of it I think is they're expecting some of the mental load and things like that to be taken, which I think needs to happen. I think that this is all traditional, right? That men should contribute more in the household with laundry, dishes, just regular stuff. But also that they should like kind of elevate their wife, if that's what, you know, their partner. Because I think historically, like women are always like the support system and not the person being supported. And so I think that's why everyone across the world right now is loving like Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. Because like she's not feeling like she has to hide, like he's outwardly proud of her, you know, that type of a thing. And I think everyone's like loving, like, cool. There's a relationship here with a man that's not trying to bring her down or is embarrassed of who she is.
I write about that, about supporting one another through applause.
Yeah.
It's not done enough. And, you know, when I talk to someone and they talk about their spouse, male, female, it doesn't matter. How they speak about them matters. And we don't hear enough people talk about their spouse with applause of how proud they are of that person, because truly they're a reflection of you. And if you're not speaking of them with pride and value and admiration, that just speaks more of you. And I don't think I don't know, maybe I view that wrong or differently than most. And I think that, you know, what would it look like if everyone else did that? What if people did that? Would that change the divorce rate? Would that change marriages? If we truly applauded our spouses more in our conversations? You know, I think it would make a big difference.
Yeah.
We don't. We love to feed on the negativity of others instead of focusing on the joy that others are bathing in, and we don't encourage it.
I agree. Yeah.
Okay. Well, anything else to add?
I feel like we just had a whole therapy session.
We did. You know, and I think that's the
deepest conversation.
Yeah, I think that's part of my problem. I sit down with people, they feel too comfortable, and they feel like they're in therapy, and then they just divulge everything to me, and I think that's my problem. And then I learned too much. I learned too much at lunch. I learned a bunch at lunch. And I learned enough in one lunch to cut. And I'm done. And that's why I just go on first dates and I don't have seconds.
I even gave her a way out. I was like, if this is going really poorly.
Listen, I didn't need it. I didn't need it. I just got out. Just got out.
Were you like, we're done here? Or because here's what I think I would do. Like, if I was safe, obviously it was just like a weird conversation. I'd be like, tell me everything.
Nope.
Like, I need to know more.
Or did you get up immediately and walk out?
Like, no, neither option. You cruel girls. I am not going to do that to myself or him. I was just like, I said, I'm so grateful you feel so comfortable and so safe. And I think you are experiencing a lot of judgment from people in your life. He's like, I am. I'm like, I really hope you get past that and you let all that go because you're not able to be your authentic self. I was totally, totally like the dating Brene Brown. Like, what the hell? I know.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh my God, thank you so much. I was like, and it's not for me. I'm sorry.
I love you so much for that. Like,
no.
The and
but I think that's also why I love Claire so much, because of the openness of our friendship. And like, it allows people to just be so vulnerable. It's like when we go to public word therapy, like there's this joke that we're like, I mean, we could be doing internal work and we're like, girl, where are you going to brunch? Like,
she's got a lot of fingers.
Where's the best burger? Like,
girl's got her fingers in my vagina, and I'm like, what are you cooking for dinner tonight?
like, I don't know. Yeah. I think vulnerability can be like such a good thing too. I mean, I do feel like that date the other day was too much, but I appreciate how you handled the situation.
Oh, I have no judgment.
Did you try to help him and say like, maybe you shouldn't tell people that?
No. I am not here to be that person that is his therapist. I am not his therapist.
You're not his coach.
I'm not his coach. I'm not his therapist. If he wants me to do all those things, he can pay me. And it's not for Hoeflation. Do you understand? No, ma'am. That's a no, ma'am.
But what a boundary, Claire. Like, well done.
Thank you. I'm very good with my boundaries. I'm very good with my boundaries in my conversations, in my life, and all the things. I know how to prune back the branches so that I am more fruitful, darling. All right. I love my vagina ladies.
Love it. Thanks for having us again, Claire.
Yeah, thank you for always providing such good insight and perspective. I need it to keep me with my feet on the ground and with my own underwear.
Just a little tidbit about what might have happened on Monday's date.
Just saying, it's mine.
I feel like, you didn't say any names, so is it called, like it's still a mystery on who it is. I feel like you could maybe tell part of that story.
I think, because, the listeners have been, I'm sure they're using content. They want
to know. Yeah, I mean, I had a man that disclosed to me that he wears women's underwear, and I was like, okay, well, that's not for me to buy.
Did you ask what kind? Like the boy shorts different?
No.
Bethany, you better stop. I told you what I said to him. I did not want to know anymore. I was like, nope, we're done. Nope.
We're done here.
Told you. I hadn't been on a date in 7 months, and this is why.
Well, where was it at?
It was at lunch, right?
Yeah, I'm not going to any more. We're done. I'm not disclosing anymore to the public. It's so bad. Oh my God. Because anytime I show up at this place and people see me, they're going to be like, oh, are you meeting somebody? Are you here for another date?
Are you here for one of those conversations?
Can I sit with you? And I'm like,
no. You can. We love you, Claire. You're the greatest.
I love you. I can't wait for 2024 and more celibacy.
Bye, Claire.
Bye. Thank you so much for listening. If you like the show, please rate and review on iTunes and check out our website, thepowerwomen.org.